You know, I've been thinking for hours, what should I do for a video today? I have no idea what I'm doing, and the first thing that came to my head, and I thought it was a brilliant idea, was tips on how to make a long-term survival world for you and your friends to play with. Now, this might be a hit, it may not be a hit, but I'll try to brainstorm some ideas that you could use in order to make a long-term world possible in Minecraft. Now, the number one tip that I'm going to use for you guys is planning. It's pure planning when coming to doing a long-term survival world, for the basic fact that you need something to do, and that's it. So how do you plan, you may be asking? Well, it's quite simple. You have to plan ahead everything before you start the long-term survival series, and you have to let everyone else that is in your server also plan. So I'll be showing you some ideas I have usually for a long-term survival world. So the basic ideas I came up with in terms of being on a server is, when you're planning ahead, at least, you want to first start like what do you want to do for your mega base? Because mega bases take a while to build, and guess what? You have all the time in the world if you want to do it on a long-term survival world. So generally you want to narrow that down to like a theme. For example, let's narrow it down to futuristic. Now you gotta think, what is futuristic that I want to build for a mega base? And you just have to kind of look on the internet for inspiration, have some thoughts about it, maybe just plan it out, do whatever you want. But yes, this is going to be a big one in your survival world. You definitely want a cool base, you definitely want to flex on your friends, and you definitely want to be the coolest person on the server. Because if you don't have a mega base, you're not cool. And I think so, at least. And then if you don't have a cool build, you're not going to look cool. And if you don't have something to flex on them, you're not going to look cool either. So therefore, mega base is really, really important when it comes to long-term survival base. And it will help you in the process, because it also does link to these other things. Well, at least some of them. Mainly this one, I'd say. But that makes us moving on to the next one, which is industrial districts for farms. For the more technical people and redstone people, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself, make a whole district for just farms. Plan out which farms you want to use. For example, you can do a creeper farm, maybe like even add a portal to a gold farm. Doesn't have to be specific or anything. Or if you even want, you can add, you know, a cow farm, a drowned farm, whatever is your forte. But challenge yourself to make your own version of the farm, or even, if you're good enough at redstone, to make an improved version of the farms that you see online. Or you could just copy a tutorial on YouTube if you're not so good at redstone or any technical things like me. But that's besides the point. There's another thing that's also important for planning ahead on how to create a long-term survival server. First of all, you're going to need to create mini-games on the server, because it's going to entice everyone into doing your mini-game. It depends on the mini-game, of course. Like, if you saw in one of my episodes, we did an infection game, where basically if people got rotten flesh, they were infected. Period. It can be as simple as that. It can even be redstone mechanic, like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of thing that it's completely made out of redstone, but you would have to teach people to use that and stuff. But of course, there's many options to this. You can do D&D, a Triton tag, etc., etc. You can think of multiple ideas with minigames. It can even be the simplest of ones, like Hunger Games. Like, Minecraft Hunger Games is fun no matter what. It doesn't matter what server you play it on. But the last thing is obviously shenanigans. But of course, this depends on the server rules itself. If the server rule says no pranks or anything, well, that's just no fun. But shenanigans are always fun, and for the server I have, I allow them, but on a low-key term. I don't like griefing or anything like that. So for me, a shenanigan would be like plotting a storyline that people have to follow. Kind of like the infection arc I did. It was kind of like it was kind of like a shenanigans slash whatever. Making a mystery for people to solve. That's also a good one. And there's many others that you can do, like just put a mustache on someone's build. You can even build something so weird that people will just check it out and then get trolled. Be like, lol, there's nothing here. You can do whatever you want with shenanigans. But remember, you have to make sure it applies to the server rules. You don't want to break anything when it comes to server rules. But anyways, let's move on to the next part of this segment when it comes to server planning. This one has to be the most obvious tip of them all, but just don't speedrun. Don't speedrun a long-term survival world. It's not going to get you very far, and you're not going to be able to do anything. The pros to this is that you get armor faster than everyone else and all the cool weapons and all the cool enchants. But the cons to it is that you get bored faster. So really, the only thing I would have to say that is true advice, don't speedrun. Take it slow, think of projects to do, and don't worry. I mean, sure, you can grind every day on the server. That is fine. But don't speedrun the game and just be done with it. That's not fun and it's not interesting. And you want to have more ideas than just beating the game in general. And yeah, I guess that does apply to the first one as well. I should probably put that after. And this is future me, by the way. I should probably have said that. I'm going to probably put that after the people one, I suppose. Well, now you know what the next segment is. I say this is the most important tip, but you really need to get people on the server. And I'm not just talking about like your friends or anything. You need to get people that will be responsible, not be toxic, you know? You want to have people that are nice and don't have anger issues. And you don't want any rivalries on the server unless they're friendly, right? And that's what this is. You have to invite the right people, or else it's going to go down and it's going to cause drama out of screen time and within screen time as well. But yeah, this happened on my server, so I know from experience that you probably don't want to be inviting the wrong people. You want to invite a good group of people that are like very, very like easy to get along with. You don't want any troublemakers, like extreme troublemakers at least. So let me show you like what is the no-no people you don't want. So brainstorming what people you probably don't want to invite to your server. What first thing comes to mind is the griefer, because obviously they're just gonna break everything you build, and all that progress would be done for nothing. You don't want anyone like this, or else it will probably just cause a lot of drama, and you won't know who it is. It will be a lot of deception within the server itself. And the next is a hacker, well, slash X-ray user. You probably don't want one of these, but it does depend on the server rules. In general, I just don't see the point in this, to be honest. If you're this sort of person, why? I don't care, but why? But anyways, on PhoenixMC, I don't mind if people hack or anything, but as long as it's not like in a PvP game, or like something that another person created, or else I'd just be plain out cheating. And you probably don't want anyone who's toxic or anything, because it will just affect all the members' mental health and it'll stress everyone out, and you can't get rid of them sometimes, and sometimes you just gotta let it go and say goodbye, sir. You don't want anyone like that. But anyways, besides these two, obviously you don't want a rule breaker. Those are the worst people possible. Please just think about it when you invite someone to the server. You don't want someone who's going to break all the rules. You have to explain to them thoroughly many, many times, and I know this from experience, but they still will not understand no matter what you say. So, yeah, I would say this is probably not the worst, but you definitely don't want a person who will break the rules 24/7 within your world itself. So you really do need to have someone that's close and trusting in order for you to invite them to your world, and you know that is nice and won't do anything wrong. So you're probably thinking, Blazera, what is the good? What is the good people to invite? Let me show you. This one is more if you're the owner of the long-term survival world. And this one is constantly updated. You don't want a very, I'd say, what's the word for it? Easy world, I'd say. Like, you want it to be more spontaneous. You want it to keep adding things. You don't want it to stay the same, basically. What you want to do is maybe, as the server owner, add vanilla tweaks. Maybe even add mods if you wanted. Change version to latest. Possibly latest version. You can even just add plugins to your own server as well. These things will just give you infinite possibilities to just constantly upgrade your server to keep it more long-term. And as you can see here, even just adding the simplest of things can really improve the world. Like, for example, if we added double shulker shells, there will be a monopoly of shulker shells all over the world. And then maybe for vanilla tweaks, you can add the armor stands. And now you can make sceneries with armor stands. For mods, you can add like another dimension, like the Twilight Forest. You can even add magic to your server. Just constantly upgrade it. Try to like think of whatever you can for it. Just try to keep it more interesting. Don't make it stay the same, or else people will not be interested as it is. But yeah, that is really all I have from my advice. If you would like more of this advice, down below in the comments, please ask any questions if you have any, and I'll be available to answer them, hopefully. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Feel free to subscribe if you want more content, and if you want to maybe do something one day, or maybe even do a collab for any YouTubers out there, I am open to do it. And last but not least, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you guys on the next one, okay? Ciao for now.